I'm watching a trailer of a Batman trilogy coming to the Nintendo Switch. But that came last year. This is an old trailer. It was an oldie, but a goodie. That Batman series was amazing. I didn't care for part one that much though. Mostly because I felt like it just copied Prince of Persia. But by the time Arkham City came around, that was I mean, I did like the first one. I liked all of them. A lot of people didn't like Arkham Knight, which I can understand why, but I still really like I enjoyed all three of them. What's up, Amnaj? Hey D, what's up? Why is it not showing up on the hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. Chat box. Uh-oh. What does it do? There. How to fix this. Finally got to watch the movie Nymphomaniac based off my recommendation. Yeah, man. Great fucking movie, man. I think Nymphomaniac is a great fucking movie. I didn't think it would get very popular because of the subject matter. If you just show women, do anything that could be considered wrong, then or socially incorrect, then it's just never gonna get. Most things like that usually don't get attention, positive attention. Everybody tries to pretend that it's not a reality. But I think every man should watch that movie, both parts. I think it should be law for every man to watch Nymphomaniac part one and part two. I can't think of anything else right now, but definitely Nymphomaniac. I think it should be the law for men to watch that movie, so they can see exactly like how many options, just what options women have, you know, on Earth. What's up, Dibs? What's up, MG Verde? What's up, man? But yeah, the only part I didn't like about it was just Shia LaBeouf. I just don't, he just didn't fit well at all, and I just don't think he fit in the movie. Like Keanu Reeves inside, I think Shia LaBeouf, however you say his name, I don't think he's a bad actor or anything. I think he's a good actor. But I just didn't feel like he fit in that movie. It's kind of saying like Keanu Reeves and Cyberpunk. Like the only thing that clearly didn't fit out of all the other talent in there was Keanu Reeves. Like everything else about Cyberpunk was great, for what it was. But Keanu Reeves was just the one thing that just completely didn't fit at all. Like he was the one thing that just like it was like putting a fucking it was like putting a pea in a bag of Skittles, right? Like just it was the one thing that just didn't fit out of all the candies in there. You just and not even in a good way. Like just the whole bag of Skittles would have been better off if you just didn't put that one pea or green bean in there. Well, you just would have been. Yeah, this is one of those things. I think Shia LaBeouf was, how do we say his name? He was by far just the worst part of the entire, because and I think he was pretty much the biggest name in the movie if I remember correctly, because every other actor was just like they were not like they were all every actor, I think every actor from the small parts to the big parts did a great job, but Shia LaBeouf was definitely like the biggest name out of everybody if I remember correctly. And then I would say next in line, the popular actor was the next popular one was the guy who she was telling the story to, and I don't even know his name, but I can recognize his face all the time, and I know he's going to do a good job when he's there. But I think he did a great job too. Everybody did a great job. It's just his Shia LaBeouf just didn't fit the movie. He just didn't fit. He just didn't fit. But I recommend that movie to anybody. I'm not, again, when I would always recommend it, I always said that I would recommend it to people Not to say all women are moving around like that, because some women do have hangups for whatever reason, or just they just not into it in that way. But I would recommend every man to watch that movie to see. You'll at least see at least one part of every woman you ever met in that one woman, at minimum one part, right? The part. So if you watch, you remember the part where she. Well, you say you watch it. Remember the part where she just hooks up with like 15 guys and tells all the guys that they were her first and they were the best and all this. And she just got tired of juggling them. So she just literally picked out of a cup to see which one she would dump that day, kind of thing. You mean? And then the older guy with two kids, he left his wife, Uma Thurman. He left his wife, who Uma Thurman did a great job too. He left her to come move in with the nymphomaniac, while the nymphomaniac had another guy over there. Right. I think it's a great movie, man. I think every guy should watch it. Not to say that every woman moves completely like how that one woman moves, but every woman you've ever met, has at least one of those scenarios in her of what I don't know her name, but whatever the main character's name was. Let's look at the main character's name. Nymphomaniac. Just type in movie. Because she went off and played. Okay, when she was younger, this girl played her when she was a young girl. When she was, well, not younger. She was probably like between the ages of like maybe like 15 to like 30. And she did a good job too. She did a great job with it. And then wait, where's the? Because I know that because the woman she went off and played in that Edgar Allan Poe, that movie with Christian Bale that I didn't like, but what was that? Hold on, not hold on, Christian Bale. It was like, yeah, this movie. I really wanted to watch. Oh wait, it's in Czech. Hang on, let me put it up in English. Pale Blue Eye. Yeah, Pale Blue Eye. Now this movie was great too. Well, no, good correction. The movie was alright. The best part of this movie was like the last 15 minutes where Christian Bale starts like he's talking to Edgar Allan Poe. And that last 10 to 15 minutes, dude, I literally could not leave. I couldn't do anything. I had to just sit there and just watch it play out. But the rest of the movie was all right. Like it wasn't anything special. But she played in this movie too. But she didn't even have a big part. The main character in Nymphomaniac, she played like a barmaid or some shit like that. She was this woman. This is her. This was the main character in Nymphomaniac. And I think that she has a good look. I think everything about her. I think she was casted. Oh, are you sorry? Yeah, you put the name on there. Yeah, she was. I think she has just the perfect look to play like a completely fuckable older woman who, if she had the option, she could do it. And she looks like she wouldn't, be too much of a cunt. She was like I think she had just the perfect look. I'm not trying to say she looked like a whore, that even though she was a whore in the movie, but like I think she just had she has a perfect look. I think she was perfectly cast for that role. She has that overall vibe and look about her. Everybody can say she's attractive, like she's definitely fuckable, right? And she doesn't look like she'd be too what's the word, prudish about sex. And you never know. In real life, she might be. Who knows? But she doesn't look like she would be prudish. I would assume she would be open-minded. I remember one scene now where she had to play a debt because she couldn't keep a job because people kept telling on her for fucking everybody. So she had to become a debt collector. And she went to this rich guy. She had to go to this rich guy's house to get the money out of him. And some kind of way, I can't remember how it even gets to the point, but she like pulls his pants down and thinks that she can like it's some kind of way like suck his dick, but he just wouldn't get hard for her at all. And she would just tell, and so she just started telling like a bunch of stories about random shit to just see if she can get him hard. And then she fucks around and talks about kids, and then his dick starts to get hard, and then she sucks him off while his dick got aroused to her talking about kids. And that's another reason why like I really highly doubt the movie would ever be socially accepted in society. But yeah, with women, man, like these things, like I would highly recommend the movie to anybody, just so you can see how women can move if they choose to. Shia was useless in the movie. Yeah, I didn't care for him much in it. I just he just didn't fit in. And then the role he kind of like because since he was because he's Shia. I don't know how you say his name. Shia. I'm gonna fuck his name up. But since he is who he is, and he's such a standout, known person outside of everybody else in the movie. And then the role that he played, like I was subconsciously waiting for him to be some major fucking, some way to majorly come back to him in a big way. I kept like kind of waiting on it. It would be like putting like Robert Down, almost like Robert Downey Jr. in the fucking role, and he's just in there for like, like just to be like her first fuck, and it just pretty much disappear. And he'd be heard of later on in the movie. Like it was like it just like he just did not fit that role in my opinion. I think I was just. I mean, you never know when you're casting people how it's going to actually play out. So I'm not like really blaming the casting people, the casting director, whoever you want to call him, because you never know how things are going to play out once people get on film and start moving around. But yeah, how it turned out, it just that I just think he was just that was a completely wasted move. What's up, Chan? But yeah, it was a great movie, man. Uh, overall though, her life is a wreck. Everything she touches falls to pieces. Everyone around her is consumed and destroyed. Yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll go ahead and say this with the character. Her real name Charlotte. What's her name in the movie? Wait, Charlotte. You put her name up here, Charlotte Gainsbourg. I'm sure I'm gonna spell this wrong, but what was her name in that movie? Joe. Her name was just Joe. I don't even remember what her name was. Yeah, this was a dude. She was telling a story to. He's a great. Every time I see him, I know I'm in for a treat, dude. If I see his face in a fucking movie, I know I'm getting ready. Somebody getting ready to say some real shit. I think he was in the Avengers, I think. And I know when I see his face, somebody get ready to say some real shit. We ain't get ready. This ain't gonna be no bullshit puff piece area. Somebody get ready to say something serious when his face shows up on camera. I know I'm in for a treat when he shows up. But yeah, what was I gonna say about her? Yeah. So the problem with her character, the problem that women are gonna face when they fully end up in her, because there's women like that, like her in real life. By the time women end up in her position, every woman needs a man to 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 be able to control her, right? Without a man controlling a woman, she ends up just how you said that she falls into pieces. She ends up just essentially just constant. She ends up in this constant state of crumbling, right? Just this constant state of decay, right? Either her or everybody around her. Like there's nothing of value that's going to be built from a woman just roaming the world by herself. Every woman needs a man to tell her what to do, to handle her, to manage her. Right now, the first issue with that is If the woman just doesn't feel comfortable with a man who can do it, well, it won't happen, right? Now, if a woman does find a man who she thinks can calm her down in one way, well, it's usually most men can't calm her down in the other way, right? So, for example, like with this woman, her name was Joe in the movie Nymphomaniac. Jo- the dude, what's his name? Peter Skarsgård. What's that motherfucker's name I just had up? No, Stellan Skarsgård. I think his brother is the dude who played the devil in Constantine, I think. Um, or I could be completely off. But yeah, so the guy who she was telling the story to, he had her he could deal with her from it. He, even though he was a little soft, he can deal with her on an intellectual standpoint. In the sense of like analyzing the situation, comparing and contrasting, having philosophical replies. He could go toe to toe with her with that. But when it came to like her just being a woman and having a cunt kind of thing, he was just out of his she was out of his league with that. So with the woman in Nymphomaniac, these women typically have to get lucky and come across a dude who is both well educated and also knows that pussy isn't shit, right? Like he has to have both of those, you know, full awarenesses, and the chances of that happening can be very slim for most women to ever find a guy like that who can keep up intellectually with them and streets intellectually with them. Right, it's very rare for a woman to find a guy who can keep up with both of those. Now, if this woman had a found that, then she could have been she could have fucked she could have been turned to a housewife if the dude wanted to fuck with her and all that. That's the only man who can turn her into a housewife at that point. A dude who can handle, who knows what it is, who that's the only guy. Because a guy who's too street for her, well, he won't be able to handle, you know, the professional etiquette life, just like casual professional etiquette life, and the casual professional etiquette life couldn't handle her fucking 40 guys last month, right? These are two completely different worlds for most men to have a proper handle on, right? And that's where these women just end up completely miserable because they're going to have to settle for a guy who has a job, because women like this usually don't, most women are never going to build anything that's going to amount to anything in life in any way. Most women won't. So she's going to need that. So she's going to have to settle for some guy who's unsuspecting, won't see it coming, like the guy in the movie who left his wife for her. He won't see it coming at all. And when they get older, they usually have to settle. They're going to have to settle for that man, in which their life is going to be eternally miserable. What's up, Grave Rave? The Milan Messenger. AD, have you read? No, I think you asked me that before. No. She was a transparent feminist who ended up getting death threats. Oh, are you talking? Wait. No, because you always ask me about this book, and I haven't read it. Esther. Is that what it was? I can't see it now. Manipulated. No, I've definitely. This was written in 1970. No, this is Wikipedia, but I've definitely never read this. If it was written in the 70s, well, just by this alone, just by that sentence alone, right there, that pretty much, yeah, that women are not oppressed by men, but rather control men to their advantage. Yeah, that's the core of what it is. Yeah, women, because historically, women, even when women were oppressed, like, yeah, I agree completely. Just with that sentence alone, women were never truly oppressed by men. They just used men to their advantage. And the one woman I read with the second sex, that woman, she goes on in her book about it. She has some reality truths about both sides, but she goes on about that, how women would much rather, if given the choice, women would much rather take shit and just live off the crumbs of man instead of go out in the world and make their own lives, make their own countries, cities, water systems, things like this. Women would rather just sit down and eat off the crumbs of what men develop instead of genuinely make their own establishments as women. Right? But no, I haven't read the book. I haven't read it. I just got done I just got finished reading The Prince by Machiavelli. It was good. It was a good book. Actually, at the end, he started bashing Italy, saying how not really bashing Italy. He was just a philosopher, so he's just saying real shit. Actually, me and one of my students today, we got on this topic. It's a Czech guy, and we got on the same topic. But real quick, so I'll also go on to what Machiavelli said about Italy. He was saying how Italy, historically, Italy, and I would go ahead and say just Europe in general was always like this. Well, Machiavelli was Italian. He was in Italy, so he's specifically focused on Italy. He goes on about how Italy would be great in terms of just these little street quarrels and street fights, but as soon as they had to form any type of military, they were just abysmal. Like they just couldn't. The unification in Europe is just not a thing, right? They just don't, and they never will have it. They just never will get there. And the student the guy I was teaching today. Well, when I teach, it was really just a conversation. We just talk about life or talk about whatever. And we were talking about, and he actually starts going on first. He says, "Yeah, Europe is just behind. It's slow. Europe is more feminine than anything. There's no senses of real, of masculinity. It's Europe as an entirety is feminine, and in my opinion, I think that there's no other option for Europe. And this is my opinion now. I think Europe on a whole is a woman. And me and the Russian friend of mine, we were talking about this. Europe is a woman, and Russia is a masculine man, and America is a feminine. And America now is a feminine man. It's an effeminate man. Russia is just bold with shit. America still tries to hide behind shit, but they'll still go out there and be a man, to go take some shit. But they try to hide it and mask it, right? And Europe is just always like, well, what about my emotions? I don't feel like talking to you right now, so you need to give me some more oil. You've hurt my feelings. Europe is always on this feminine shit, unless they've been essentially colonized by either the U.S. or the U.K. in some form. Europe on a whole is going to be feminine. It's this whole, well, what about my emotions? I don't feel like I should do this right now. I don't feel like I should talk to you right now. And so, as long as you have that, keep going, because Europe is going to stay separated. As long as that stays going, I don't feel like talking to you. I don't feel like knowing you right now. I don't feel. As long as that's going, Europe will never grow out of being a series of competing states, and it's going to stay feminine because there will be no sense of unification. Right? There's just no they literally, and here's the sad part, because me and him talked about it. I talked about it with somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Is that Europe is great for a baseline of basic survival of life, but anything extra, it's still feudal fucking 13th century level mentality. They just don't have it. Perfect example today. When it comes to anything above average, Europe just unless they got it imported from America or some American made shit in another country, as American, you really don't understand the level of quality control that we have. You really don't if you're in America, that's about as good as you're gonna get in the whole world. Now, other little areas could get a little better here and there, but in an overall sense, the level of quality control for making anything that takes more than 3 levels of thought in America, yeah, that's about as good as you're gonna get. It doesn't get much better. I said a while back because a friend of mine. Well, I already said his name on live stream. He wouldn't care anyway. He has a very simple name, so you never find him. John, a friend of mine, John, he was saying he always knew what Europe was because he had been to Europe plenty of times before I met him, and he would always just like immediately just start laughing when people thinks like Europe is like advanced compared to America. Now, little things are, but or the general thing, no. Europe is what they think Africa is on a whole. Again, unless it's been colonized by North America, Europe is what they think Africa is. But the thing is, like, they don't see it within themselves unless they've traveled, like the guy I spoke with today. The Europeans who've traveled know what Europe is, but the Europeans who haven't traveled can't see it because all they know is their little state, town, whatever the fuck, right? So, a friend of mine, John, he was friends with the dude, and they did the Navy SEAL guy, right? And I know his nickname, but his nickname is even kind of something specific. So I'm not going to say that. I might have already said it. Who knows? But I'm going to try not to say it. Well, he would go, him and another friend of theirs who was in the Navy. They would link up and work together in these them Tyson chicken plants with the chicken the factories where it ends up on a conveyor line and you gotta and some kind of way it shuts off the conveyor line and keeps it going. Well, the Navy SEAL dude is the guy who contracts for most of those places in India and in many different places of Europe, right? And the stories that they would tell me, okay, between both of them, they had one associate's degree, right? And they had military experience, but they had one associate's degree. They would tell me stories about the quality control in Europe and India. And they said, oh, like people with master's degrees out there, like they are convinced that master's degree, and here I'm convinced now that an American community college is more efficient and more structurally sound than a master's degree in most of Europe, and I'm guessing India too. I've never been to India, I don't know, but I could eat because what I've seen in universities here, in the universities I've seen here, I went to community college back in North America. And these motherfuckers, the unification, the movement, the making things work, they just don't got that sense of unification is something very rare in the world. I side with my friend John. Yeah, I've seen it myself. Okay, when you're talking about efficiency and getting shit done on time in a timely manner on a unified system, I would recommend a community college versus getting a bachelor's in most other countries on earth. I would recommend an American community college over most other schools on earth. From what knowledge I have on it, from personal experience. I'm not saying there aren't some great schools, because there are some great schools outside the U.S. I'm not trying to say that. But on average, yeah. On average. The levels of shit that I've seen, full-on universities, people working on masters and doctorates out here. What I've seen them work with in their libraries, in their labs and shit, I'm like, dude, we had better shit than that at a community college in Ohio 15 years ago. What the fuck? I'm like, oh my Lord. like y'all motherfuckers don't stand a chance. But it is like you can't tell them because they want to feel like that they got shit together. So it's like, or they gonna get offended. You know what I mean? Unless they just happen to be a cool person. And that does happen. You will find some people who are just cool about it. But it's like, oh my God, like y'all sitting up in this shit? I graduated from a community college in the US and you couldn't get away with this at a community college in North America. And they masters and doctor's degrees out here. What they doing out here with this shit? I was like, oh my Lord. Because I wanted to study botany over here. Botany. like the study of plants. And the only reason I would do it is just so I could have some type of structural system with other people with the same interest. Because I wouldn't do it for the qualification because it's not going to be recognized in North America. There's a good chance it's not going to be recognized. But and now here's the weird part is they do have good libraries. Their libraries have good books in them, and in different languages. But they do have good books in them. But what? Oh, when you see like again, I cannot stress it the quality the quality assurance that North America. I can't speak on the UK because I don't know much about the UK in this regard, but just scattered briefly here and there throughout Europe and how I see how things operate and how fast they are and how efficient it works. If you're in America, you pretty much at the top when it comes to technology, availability of technology, affordability of technology, these things, you're pretty much going to be at minimum the top, at max the top five, at worst, at absolute worst in the world. If I had to assume, you're gonna, it is not going to get much better. Now, if you just want to drink if you just want to drink some different tasting wine and have some fancy bread, oh, by all means, yeah, Europe's the shit for that. You want to fuck some cheap hookers, get some, you want to fuck cheap but beautiful hookers, eat some classy bread, drink some different wine, have a decently cooked steak or decent beef ribs or something like that. Yeah, Europe is the shit for that. But after that, no, man. If you're in the U.S., a lot of things you will be better off with in the U.S. You said last stream that you don't need sex and you can have without it for weeks or months. Yeah, Ro. Yeah, yeah. Well, I go in phases. Like sometimes I just go in phases. Sometimes I can go like I think we've gone a month or two without having sex. It's not because I tried. It's because I just didn't even initiate it. Right? I just go. Here's the thing. Because we just talked about this. She's probably watching, so she's gonna get mad at me. But but she's never told. She even told me. She said I've never told you no for sex. She's never told me no for sex. Right? Um, and she's telling the truth. She's never told me no, as far as I can remember. If she did, it was you know something I can't even remember. And I'll be honest with you, with anybody about this conversation, she's never told me no for sex from memory, and she's even said it. The thing is like especially as you get older, man, like or maybe not. Maybe some guys are different, but for me, I just don't care. Like I would just rather jack off sometimes because I just don't want to deal with all the exertion and just all that complication of being of just having sex, right? Like you gotta have sex and just yeah, deal with another person and no. Sometimes I just rather just go watch porn, jack off, and be done with it because it's just easier, it's faster, that kind of thing. Arl, I'm from Baltics and I've been using escorts the last 6 months and I feel tired of this and sex not make me go over and beyond anymore. Can you tell your experience? You said that you don't have. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. You've been doing it 6 months. I mean, it's just phases, honestly, man. It's just phases of life. That's just it, man. Like sometimes you just don't want to do it. And I think it's up to you as an individual to feel it, to accept yourself for it. Just like because as men we grow up like with not a whole lot of opportunity to have sex, right? So for us it's like once we get it then it's like I must want more and more and more and more, right? You can say the same thing for something like money for people who grew up and didn't have money, right? Or money, let's say I could say it would be the same thing for like people who didn't grow up with money to buy food, right? When they do grow up and then finally get money to buy food, well, a lot of them will overdo it and end up 500 pounds, right? Because they just keep eating because they remember the days when they didn't have food, right? So there's just, I'm going to eat more food because I remember when I didn't have it, so I need to eat more, right? And some people snap out of it. They see it, they go, okay, I'm not even hungry. Why do I keep eating? I'm just gonna stop, right? But something wrong with me because I should want to eat because because it's food and I know what it's like to go to bed hungry and all that. Some people snap out of it, others don't, and end up creating like other problems after it. Like, for example, my opinion of what Charlie Sheen did, how he got HIV. I think that's what happened to him. He didn't know how to like turn it off and end up just like fucking like everything because of the addiction of it to it, of just the ease of it, of getting it whenever, because he's Charlie Sheen, he's the shit, right? One of them things. But I don't know the guy personally, so I can't really say. But if I had to guess, that's what I would say. But yeah, it's really just up to you. It's up to you as an individual to come to the realization of just acceptance of you and what you are in life, and find a way to just be okay with it. And again, some guys can do it, some guys can't, some guys need something else. Everybody's made up a little different. Like, for example, another example would be like working a job, right? So many people out there are stuck in like blue collar work. And I know this from personal experience. Once you're stuck in blue collar work, your dream life is just to work at a desk, right? Your dream life, when many guys are stuck in blue collar work, they think that the dream life is going to be to go to work, to be able to sit at a desk in air conditioning, right? For 8 hours a day and get paid for it. Reply to emails, whatever, call center, doesn't matter, right? And then what happens is some of the guys, they end up doing it. They end up figuring it out, like I did. You figure out the system, and then you can get into office work. And then you get into office work, then you're sitting there like, oh shit, like why am I not still happy? I should be happy because I remember when I was outside working in the heat. I remember when I was outside working in the cold. I remember when I was standing on my feet all day as a waiter or a cook. I remember these days when I was moving heavy boxes. How come I'm not happy with this new job of sitting down, something that I dreamed about all my life, and now I'm no longer happy, right? And then again, that's another bridging point. Some guys will be like, fuck it, and just run back to whatever they were before. Other guys will just double down on it and come up with every excuse in the book as to why they should be happy and do whatever mental gymnastics they need to do to convince themselves that they're happy. Some guys may end up having to force themselves on medication because they think that now they're just depressed or something like that. Whatever, it could bring. Or some guys take that, they'll get in that office, take the knowledge they have in the office, and then try to create a side hustle with it, right? And try to do their own thing, and that keeps them happy in there because they know that they're creating a side hustle off of what they learned in maybe both worlds or just the one world, right? So it's really just a development thing for that man. Yeah. What's up, Elijah? Let me check my email real fast because I did want to do a video or a request. Hang on. Real quick, I am addicted to. Oh, I never finished. Yeah, this is this Nick Cannon shit. I'm addicted to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And I was talking shit about Assassin's Creed for the longest. And I gotta say, now I started playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and I'm completely addicted to it. And there's gonna be a lot of things. I'm completely addicted to it. So today, Origins and Black Flag are the only two Assassin's Creeds that I've seriously looked forward to playing again after I turned it off. I'm not just forcing my way through it. But yeah, I think somebody even recommended me Black Flag years ago, and I just shit on it because I played Assassin's Creed Rogue, because that was the only one of those that I didn't play was Black Flag. I can't remember why, but I played Rogue back when it came out, and it was fun, but Black Flag is definitely the shit. I'm addicted to it. I keep saying army mateys. I keep going, me mateys. Talking like Cartman's fat ass. Like, me mateys. Not me, matey. Somebody hit my, you know what I mean? Somebody killed one of my homies. Like, not me, matey. I be talking like it the whole time I play it. But I'm addicted to it. And I figured out why. I figured out why I'm addicted to it real fast. Is because, well, or I really enjoyed Origins too. That was the first one I got that on Game Pass when it came to Game Pass, and I randomly tried it and loved it. Or I thought Origins was great, but with Black Flag, I figured out why I like Black Flag so much is because it's of that time period is the only one that took the focus off of being on foot all the goddamn time. Because to me, here's the thing, it just gets boring just watching him run across the goddamn city to go talk to somebody. Like, this motherfucker just running like nonstop. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just watching like with the same jog animation. Because then they put the people on the rooftops, and then they could just like I mean, like, it just say like, why did they put these people on every rooftop to shoot me down? Like, I just want to run around, dude. Like, I want to see the cool. Like, let me be free on just running across rooftops. Like, there's no need to keep putting fucking snipers on every goddamn rooftop. It's just not fun, right? The whole name of the game is in parkour, but then you fucking limit the parkour by putting snipers on every goddamn roof. It's like, what the fuck was the point? Ubisoft? Like, what was the point? So Black Flag, the reason why I think I enjoy Black Flag so much is because I don't actually have to play it with Assassin's Creed physics. You just ride the goddamn boat the whole time. Fuck that. Running all the way across Rome just to go talk to one dude and buy a sword and run. You mean quick travel, whatever? Like, why? It's just out of place. Like, they're like I had a lot of fun with Unity, but Black Flag was. I'm addicted to Black Flag. Black Flag's the shit, I gotta say. So I was shitting on Assassin's Creed. I was gonna say I want to say to people who love Assassin's Creed, I apologize. Black Flag's the shit. The rest of them, I'm gonna try Syndicate again after I finish Black Flag, because once I started playing through the Assassin's Creed, I started remembering that I actually played more of them than I remembered. Because I remember playing Syndicate when that came out. I have Unity on Steam. The only I want to try Valhalla just because I'm just interested in that time period. But the rest of them, like, were just not. And I played 3 when that came out. They were just not. Like, I just didn't have fun with them. But yeah, let's start this video. This is one with Nick Cannon and the counselor shit. Let's start this.
That I say this is it. This is the non-negotiable, right? But if I really am in it to be in it forever, like from the beginning, before I meet a man, I'm saying when I commit, I'm just doing this forever. That means I'm signing up and forgiving you before you do any of the bullshit you may come with. And that's challenging, but that's what real commitment is. Commitment is I'm going to do what I said I was going to do, no matter how I feel. That goes back to what? Emotional intelligence.
Right.
Emotional intelligence is a nucleus to any healthy relationship. If I'm committing to you and you piss me off, I've committed to stay. So where am I going? Where am I going? Doesn't mean I can't take a break. Doesn't mean I can't take a pivot. I can't go to brunch. I can't meditate. Can I take a weekend of woosah? But that means I'm not leaving you. And as an abandoned woman, thank God I've evolved into a place of deeper than just not leaving you, meaning leaving the relationship, but I've also had to learn to not leave you in this emotion of distraught. Because leaving you while you're in your emotion is the pit of abandonment. That's worse than me walking out and returning. I should be able to sit in this with you, upset or not upset, until our emotions do whatever they're going to do and we get back to baseline. Right. Because that is the epitome of deliverance. That's the epitome of commitment. Abandonment is, you know what? I can't deal with my emotions, so screw yours, I'm out of here. And when I feel I'm okay and I've regulated, because I don't know how to do it, I'll come back. But it's still an emotional roller coaster, and abandonment is an emotional roller coaster. What I need you to do is sit with me in this until if it take a day or 2 weeks or 5 hours, don't leave me in my pain. Even if you're just my friend, no, sit with me in this. Now, if you got to go to work, that's it. You know, baby, I got to go to work. But when I
See, look, okay, all right. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this right here. The reason why she got so much problems is because she thinks she's smarter than she is. She thinks she's smarter than she is, and any man who's gonna sit down and listen to her talk is just who's had any confidence is just gonna leave. Cause I'm ready to click off this shit right now. I got the same degree she got because I remember she was talking last time. So that hocus pocus bullshit is not gonna work on me. All right. I got more degrees than she has, and I have the same degrees. I have the same main degree that she has, and I guarantee I got more life experience than she has. This isn't going. This just doesn't. This is a bunch of babble. I can tell right now just by the how she's talking about, because this is all women talk about. I can tell how she's talking that, okay, you will never, okay, no, okay, most men are not genuinely happy around women, right? But in terms of relationship, like this woman is a waste of time. This is a waste of, okay. Again, for a man who's got some confidence and got some options in life, this shit is a waste of time. By the time by the time a woman has to start talking about being abandoned, it's usually, okay, there's a small chance because a parent did leave her, right? But in that's a small chance in reality. The reality of it is by the time she starts talking, by the time a woman starts talking about abandonment, it's her coping mechanism for why men keep leaving her and she doesn't know why. So she'll just say she was abandoned in her past, or abandonment issue, abandoned. By the time the words abandoned start coming out of a woman's mouth, it's usually because she's so unbearably difficult to just exist with that guys just have to walk away. There's always gonna be some guy who's gonna marry her or fuck her and pump a baby in her because she's just a woman. It's her entitlement. But by the time women even start bringing up abandonment, they were abandoned, this and that. What that is translation for is, of course, she got with a guy because she's a woman. That's her entitlement. Every guy can use at least a piece of side pussy. So she's going to get with a guy. There's no kudos for that, right? But a guy got with her, and regardless of her education, how pretty she looked and all that, the guys still got up and walked off and just left her somewhere because she was just so unbearable to sit down with. That's the code name for, I would say, at least 90% of women when they get to talking about abandonment issues. That's the reality of what the abandonment issue is. She sat down and started talking too goddamn much. She's Brittany Renner. She didn't sit there and be a fuck doll, and she started talking too much. And guys left her. So now she's abandoned. And I don't want to be abandoned. Abandon's the hot button. Yeah. That's generally that is the core translation of it. I would say for at least 90% of women.
When I get back, let's continue to process this.
But like you said, if it's an emotional intelligence scenario, at some point.
See, and here's the thing, like sitting down talking about, okay, I get it. He's Nick Cannon. She probably paid him to come on the show, so now he's got to sit there and entertain this shit. Okay, here's the thing. Dude, okay, as a man, never sit down and talk about emotional intelligence with a goddamn woman. Because she doesn't have any emotional intelligence. She can't, because she's not in control of her own emotions. Now, I get Nick Cannon, she probably paid him to come on the show, or he probably did her a family a favor or something like that by showing up, because he's Nick Cannon, right? It is what it is. Right? But as a man, don't take this the wrong way. Women do not want you to sit down and talk about emotional intelligence with them. That's fag shit. All right? She's playing with you. By the time she has you, I'm not saying Nick Cannon's a fag for doing this. Like I said, he more than likely he probably just doing this for a favor for some shit like that, right? Okay. You think Tyrone sitting down talking about emotional intelligence? You think Chad and Tyrone sitting down talking, oh yeah, emotional intelligence. And I feel like emotional intelligence. No. Chad and Tyrone ain't sitting down talking about emotional. Like, no, don't do it. Ever. Ever. There is no point in your life. By the time you are sitting down, I'm not talking about Nick Cannon because this is an interview. Them shoes are fucking ugly. But Nick Cannon, I'm not talking about Nick Cannon. The shoes Nick Cannon's wearing are ugly as fuck. But the context of the situation, I'm pretty sure that's a different context. By the time you are sitting down debating things like emotional intelligence and feelings, you're gone by that point. You're already gone. You're done. You're just lingering, waiting for her to pull the plug on you at that point. Every time. There is no point where you sit down talking about some emotional intelligence with a woman and that shit's gonna work out for the better for you. All right. Once she starts thinking that she's intelligent in anything, and you start sitting down trying to debate, negotiate with her about the accuracy of intelligence in the field between you and her, all right, that is nothing but a woman's invitation to lasso you in and then pull the floor from underneath you whenever she feels like it. Because guess what? Well, we were just talking about emotional intelligence, and I was just wondering what you meant last week when you said, and see now she knows she has you on that whole empathetic trip. So you're gonna go, oh, well, that's not what I meant. Because now as a man, you're gonna try to fix it and keep her happy, and now and that's how it starts, and you're done. And then, well, guess what? Well, we was talking about emotional intelligence. Wait, remember when we said this? I didn't think that was fair, though. And like, what do you think wasn't fair? Well, I didn't think it was fair. How you didn't put the toilet seat down. And you don't like the toilet seat put down. And like, okay, baby. Well, but here's the thing. So I'm going to try to be emotionally intelligent, so I'm going to do what you say. See, that way we could both be emotionally intelligent. Then guess what? 2 weeks later. I just don't know. What's the problem now? Well, you remember when we talked about this? I just feel like my emotions are this. Okay, how do we fix the emotions? Well, okay, well, I'll do. And do you think that's the end of it? Guess what? A fucking month later. I just thinking. And you're done. Because you can't work out of that. Once she has you on that, it's done. It's finished. And you cannot. Okay, you can work out of it, but you're going to have to do some. What was that movie called that I really enjoyed? You're going to have to do some really awkward shit to get out of it. Okay, because at that point you will now be so conditioned to have to check in with her before you can develop into or do anything that you will lose all sense of independence. Because guess what? Next week, bring. What's the problem now? Well, I was just thinking. And here you go. On a weekly rotation. I don't know what's wrong with her. I guess I'll fix this now. And now you following mental retardation down a path of thinking it's intelligent. And you are the enabler to her mental retardation. And now both of y'all are retarded. Both of y'all doing dumbass shit. Chasing a fucking... You're a dumb retard chasing a chicken with his head cut off. And both of y'all just dumb as fuck. Never do it. It is a waste of time. Don't talk about emotional intelligence. I mean, unless you just bored and you getting ready to get out of it. Okay, unless you talking with a woman that you know you getting ready to like you probably will never see again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you just bored and you want to have the conversation. Like probably what Nick Cannon's doing. Some shit like, okay, I doubt Nick Cannon's talking to Mariah Carey like that. And then fucking her, right? Unless, I mean, you can do it if you got a certain swag or a certain game about it. But I doubt he's sitting up doing this long with Mariah Carey. I highly doubt that. And she's still able to fuck him. What do you think is the underlying meaning of women who say they are bored in a relationship? Oh, well, because there's no type of drama. Kevin, when a woman's bored in a relationship, that means that the guy is being nice. And nice equals boredom. Nice equals boredom. Nice equals predictability. And predictability, um okay, nice and predictability equals boredom. Being treated like shit and unpredictability equals fun, because now we can ride that emotional roller coaster that every woman needs. The reason why women always go back to guys who have rough sex with them is because if you don't hurt a woman at least a little bit when you having sex and it's all just pleasurable feeling, that's boring to women. It's boring. The reason why women always go back to a dude who will beat them, slap them, spit in their face, right? Because it adds to that unpredictableness. If nice and unpredictable equals boring, because you could be nice and unpredictable, like, oh, guess what? Guess what, baby? We going to Cancun this week, and you ain't say nothing about it, right? Because you planned it. Guess what, baby? I bought a car or some shit like that. Guess what, baby? I'm gonna take you out to dinner. Just get ready right now. We going, right? That's being nice and unpredictable. Niceness and unpredictable equals boring. Treating people like shit and unpredictability equals fun, because now it's like I genuinely don't know what the guy's getting ready to do next, right? So to answer your question again, boring, when a woman is bored with a guy, it's because the guy is not essentially doing his own thing without her approval, and he's being too nice. Again, I would guarantee you those guys at facial abuse, the ghetto gagger guys, I guarantee, look, if you were to get in a conversation with them, I would promise you that those women that they fuck on camera like that, they call them and text them. I would guarantee you most, if not all of them, came back within 6 months in some form. I will bet $1,000 to a donut that it happened. Now, a nice guy is not gonna ever hear back. When guys get dumped, and they was nice, okay, that woman doesn't come back unless she had a hard time in life, and when she dumped that nice guy, she's not gonna come back unless she had a hard time in life. But I guarantee you, them ghetto gagger guys, if you sit them down in a conversation and y'all get to talking, I will guarantee you I would guarantee most, if not, I would say at minimum 70% of all those women who ever did ghetto gaggers called them and text them within 6 months trying to do it again. And if it wasn't with them, they went out and found another guy who could fuck them like that. See, those women aren't doing that to nice guys. Nice guys don't get that call back. That text call back, hey, how you doing? Nice guys don't get that. That's the hard part about being a guy, man. Like, you got, in order to make any progress in life, you have to learn to become an asshole. Like in Vanilla Sky, when I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise character, he ran a business, but Tom Cruise was nice, right? And his coworker was like, he got drunk at a party, and he goes, Thomas Tip, that was his name, Thomas Tip. He goes, David, these are 3 rules I want you to know. He goes, learn to be an asshole. Like, you got to learn to be, as a man, you have to learn to become mean and not care, right? So here's a quick run through what I do for this. You always have to remember the numbers of the reality of life and the numbers of the reality in life, right? So like right now, right? Like I can go outside and be nice to 10 people. To 10 women. 10 people or 10 women, whatever, right? Now, I'll have to be socially acceptable nice, right? For that social area, party, whatever, right? Now, the reality of it is they'll feel pressure to want to be nice back to me, that which is not really being them. I'm not really being myself. So now we have 2 fake personalities bouncing off of each other that could be multiplied by whoever's seen us and joined in, blah, blah. So then we have all these fake personalities bouncing in, all this, fake it being nice, and all that shit, right? And the reality of it is, most of these people don't even really like each other. And they're all throwing around these fake ass personalities. And half of them don't even like themselves. Right? So what are you really doing by going out of your way to be overly nice to fit in with people, right? It's a waste of fucking time. Right? Because like I said, in the reality, you go out there, let's say there's a group of 10 people, and you go over there and try to be overly nice to them to fit in, or 10 bitches, and you're trying to get some pussy, whatever. Now, you could get lucky and get some pussy here and there for whatever the reason, but in the reality of it is, the numbers are always going to be the same. Who's going to like you and who's not going to like you. The numbers are always going to stay the same. It's just that initial reaction will be a more extreme, but it's always going to be the same numbers. You go out and try to get pussy from 10 bitches being nice, well, there's a good chance none of the women will ever talk to you again. But for those who will, it's still under the context of being nice, blah, 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 this and that, right? Now, the initial reaction will still be a more comfortable one, but it's with much less risk. Right? And some people get that confused with, they might like me, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, like, them people don't even like themselves. And they don't even like the people around them. They're all just faking it, using each other as a means to an end to go out and not be alone or whatever, right? So they're really fucking each other over the whole time. And here you come trying to go over there and fit in with them, thinking that they gonna like you like this, and they like you for some other reason you don't even know. And it's just huge. Versus if you just go out and be an asshole and just say some wild shit, right? It's gonna be this. Okay, the amount of people, the same relative possibility is gonna be there. You're going to get extreme, but it's going to be more extremes in reactions, right? Some people just may flat out just decide they don't like you in 5 seconds. And other people, they might wait for other people to like you. And some people may immediately take to you, right off the bat, right? And everything in between, right? So in the reality of becoming a man and learn to become an asshole, you have to it's really hard to do this. And it's hard to come to this level. But even when it comes to jobs, whatever, when it comes to job interviews, whatever the fuck, right? No matter how desperate or thirsty you are for a job or for a girlfriend, you have to come to the realistic conclusion that it's completely out of your control. Because you cannot completely predict how that other person sees you. You don't even know what you look like from the outside for real, because it's you, right? So like this whole game of trying to predict what somebody else is going to see in you and all this is a waste of fucking time. It's complete. Now I'm not saying go walk around and just be rude for no reason. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is the numbers, the odds in it it's always the same numbers. It's always the same set of odds. Right? If you just go out and be an asshole, somebody's going to love you, somebody's going to hate you. If you go out and be overly nice, somebody's going to love you, somebody's going to hate you. But now you have that added complication of throwing around a fake personality and trying to work back to your actual personality. Right? Okay. Ivy, what's up, Ivy Bo? How do you balance out being dominant in the bedroom and still a good, decent man to one's girlfriend? I wonder what makes both sides work together, if any. So me and my spouse, we have these conversations, man, and I think I mentioned this last week, my last stream, because most women can't find a guy who knows how to dominate her, and then also like show signs of like how you say like could do both. So I'll tell you my journey, just from what I can remember right now. I'll tell you my journey of it. So of course, like when you're a guy, when you first get out into the when I first got out into the dating world, women were just everything, right? Women are the gold, the prize, all because they're pretty. Because they're pretty. That's really it. You just want to fuck them, right? And they're everything. They are the reason why you iron your clothes when you're in high school. The reason why you're worried about anything is because that cute girl might see you and you have dreams of marrying her because she's pretty, right? So then the next step is finally hooking up with a girl, finally having sex with a girl. And the first time I had sex, I really didn't even like sex when I first had. I thought it was like completely overrated when I finally did have sex, to be honest. And then when I finally, because I remember, and this sounds like I'm making it up, but I'm not. The first girl who I had like consistent sex with was a model. But she wasn't like a big name or not even a big city. She was a model out in Xenia, Ohio, right? This was a black girl. I actually tried hitting on her sister first, and her sister gave me her number. This was in college. Her sister said, "Oh, like her sister was older, but I thought she was cute too." She goes, "Oh, I'm taken, but I'll give your number to my sister." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." She just blew me off, but I'll just give her a number anyway. Well, she actually gave my number to her sister, who was an actual model, and she was a good looking girl. And the hard part was when I finally had a girl who I got consistent sex from, like, and I call her, and I knew we could have sex, whatever, right? Um, um, that next conversion was to get over my initial urge to just really just want to pleasure myself and just get on top of her and just jackhammer her, just pound her, and then come and then go to sleep, right? Because that's a hard thing to get over at first. For what it was for me. So when I got over that took a long time. I'm saying it like it took like 5 minutes, but it took like a long time. It's just more experience. So once I got over that, and I mean this took a long time. Then it got to the point where like I was completely mentally able to throw away a woman at some point, like on some level, to genuinely see a cute girl and think nothing of it, right? But even then, I still wasn't completely over it. But to the point where I was just like completely dominant. That took like 10 years in the making, right? But then here's the thing. So once I got to the point where I was completely comfortable being dominant in bed, this was after I had experience with hookers and hearing how they talk about men. So I had known, but see, nowadays we have YouTube and, and Instagram and shit to hear what women are really saying. Because back then we didn't have these things. So maybe it was a little more sacred back then that I did find out how I found out. But I just knew how women really were. So I knew how to, like, whenever I would have sex with a woman and it would, feel real good, like I actively, constantly kill whatever good feeling I have about a woman. I always do it. Even now, I still do it. Let me open this window real fast. See, as a man, well, I'll say just as myself, I actively cut. It's like this certain feeling in my heart or whatever. I can feel it when I'm getting ready to become like too excited, right? And I know how to kill it, right? And in that killing it comes just being normal after it, after having sex, right? But as a man, like it's up to you to manage that. To see, only women are allowed to act in feeling good with their emotions. Men are not allowed to do this and still be respected. As a man, it's constant work to stay in the position of being a man and staying in the position of being, something admirable, and all that shit like that. It's a constant fight. Women are allowed to just feel good and do whatever they want to do and just feed into all their emotions like a child in a candy store, right? Women can do this. As a man, you can't do this. You as a man, you cannot let go completely. It's just how it is, man. Because men are leaders can't do that. You can fuck up. I'm not saying you can't fuck up, but leaders, once a man becomes too emotional and all this, emotional, that once a man becomes too emotional in any world, that is a sign that he's getting ready to fuck up. Whether it's social level admiration, political admiration. Like if Donald Trump just was on TV and you see him just genuinely be blissfully happy or blissfully or just like tormentingly upset and sad, right? If you were to see that, if the United States of America were to, if that were to leak, let's say like in a tweet or something, and he was recorded doing that, the man would now be seen as unstable. That's really just it right there. Emotional men equal unstable men. What's up, Black Panther? Oh, I'm good, man. I'm doing all right. But how do I balance it? When I do have like let's say when have rough. Well, now it's just so much a habit. I don't even think about it. But whenever you start to feel too good, because here's the thing. I think at the core, it's at some point every man wants to fuck a woman like the Ghetto Gaggers dudes be fucking bitches on their channel. Every guy has it on some level, right? Maybe he just can't imagine himself doing it because he's too worried about this, that, and whatever, right? But at some point, it's in every guy's nature to want to fuck bitches like Ghetto Gaggers. You just humiliate a woman, make her do the most humiliating shit, whatever. Like at some point, on some level. Now, some guy, it may not be all the time. It may be like a random fetish, one time every 6 months or something. But every guy has that part of him at some level, right? And just like every woman at the core wants to be dominated. See, pussy always, if you notice throughout history, pussy always works when the woman's being dominated, whether it's taken by force or taken because she wanted to give it to the guy, right? Whenever cities and villages were raided and plundered, bitches knew how to fuck real fast, right? And see, these are the fucked up parts of reality that will get you canceled real quick, right? The fucked up parts about reality is, see, whenever them villages or cities or towns got raided or plundered, see, all of a sudden them birth rates changed to whoever that invader was, right? And probably they didn't even speak the language, right? But see, historically speaking, see, pussy does not work for nice. So if pussy has to choose between nice or being raided and plundered and raped, she's going to pick being raided and plundered and raped if you look at historical numbers on the factual data on it. You can't fight that logic, right? If there has to be a choice, she's going to pick to be dominated. So the point I'm trying to make is, at the core, every woman has it in her for her pussy to work for being dominated, and every man has it in him to want to dominate a woman, right? To want to own, dominate, whatever, right? Historically speaking, these are just the facts of it. Yeah. How do you learn to become an asshole? It takes a lot of practice. For some guys, it took a lot of practice for me. Um, I remember this one real cute girl. I actually really liked her. She was cute. I say her name. Her name was Nicole. When we first came here, friend of mine, he knew her. So if he's watching this, he knows exactly what I'm talking. I thought she was beautiful. Nicole's one of American girls who could legit keep up out here. And I told her she was beautiful. We all went to dinner one night. I remember I got the duck because I always get the duck at this one restaurant. I got duck. Her name was Nicole, and Nicole was one of them like Spanish looking bitches from like I don't know from like California or something. But she was a beautiful girl. I thought she was beautiful, but I treat her like shit too. I told her she was beautiful, but I treat her like shit. Because I remember I told her like you could go outside right now and bend over backwards and throw up, and a motherfucker will look at you and be like, I'd fuck her. Right? I told her at the table. It was me, her, and this dude named Daniel. We were sitting at the table together. I told her that at the table. Anyway, the next day we had to go to work, right? And she was and somebody had asked us a question, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I like to feed my rats at home." And I said, "See, that's why you ain't got no man." I just said it loud. like everybody heard it. I said, "That's why you ain't," because you say shit like that. Like that's why you ain't got no man. And she was a good looking girl. I really like she was. I think she was out of my league, to be honest. I thought she was good looking, from just being a pretty girl. Anyway, I remember. So after all that blew over, like I went off with the other Czech girl and got married and all that, and she kept friend requesting me on Facebook, right? And so I talked to the other friend of mine. He's out in I think Seoul right now. He always goes out way out east to go work, to go teaching, because they pay him real good to go out there. And he's like, yeah. Nicole been trying to friend. She always talks about you, man. Like, she's been trying to friend you for a while now. Because I thought maybe it was even a fake account. But he called me and said, no, she's really trying to get with you. And then I looked at her Facebook account. I knew what it was. And the reason why I ended up blocking her was because she went back to America. And she could see on my profile that I stayed out in Prague. And she probably seen me on Instagram being in Prague still, or being in Czech Republic. So like she was trying to find her life. She was trying to make a life through me type shit, right? So I ended up just blocking her. But she was a real good looking girl. But how do you be an asshole, man? It just depends on your swagger and all that. But ultimately, like I said earlier, how to become an asshole, ultimately, you just have to learn to you have to come to an acceptance that no matter what you decide to do, people are going to like you and people are not going to like, no matter what you do. Okay, now you might just get a good streak of people liking you, whatever. Like these things happen, right? You might just get on a streak no matter what you do, if you're like super nice or whatever. But here, the reality of it is the numbers were always the same. You could have gone out there and been a complete jerk to 20 people and all those 20 people love you. And you could have gone out there and been a complete nice guy to 20 people and all those people like you. Once you come to that full conclusion, that full reality that it was literally like nothing that you could have personally done with the knowledge base that you have could have changed the situation, that I think that's when you start to learn to let go as a human. I think that's when you start to let go. Now, again, I'm not saying go out there just be rude for no reason. Just say when I say asshole, just say some because here's the thing: you can be an asshole like in different ways. Like I'm an asshole in a form of I just say real shit. I just say real shit in a lot of scenarios. Now, sometimes I don't just because it's just not the right time. Shit like that. Even for me, I'm not like now. Some guys are like worse than me. But I'm not like I still have a sense of like what will keep people under control because it's just not worth it in this situation kind of thing. I still do have that sense, but ultimately, like I said, you have to learn how to no matter what you could have done, and ultimately here's the thing. My opinion of trying to be nice is people try to be okay. The whole reason why people try to be nice is because they secretly think it'll grant them protection in the world. That's the reason why people go that extra mile to be nice, because they think it'll grant them that protection, either in the sense of of guilt tripping the other person and having to be nice back to them. You know, that situation. You know, where people are nice because they expect people to treat them nice. So it's not really about them being nice. It's that they're trying to guilt trip you into being nice back to them, which is a shitty thing to do, in my opinion. I think that's worse than just being an asshole. Or you know, I forget the other reason I was going to say now, because that first one just pissed me off so bad thinking about it. But yeah, what's up, Super? But awesome take. I'll see how I am able to manage dominance and kindness with a relationship. Thanks for your response. I love your red pill live streams and also hear your take about comics and games. Oh, word, thanks. Yeah, man. But yeah, but again, becoming an asshole is hard because it's hard to fully let go. It's hard to let go of the reality. It's hard to both let go and accept the reality. It's hard to let go of the fact that being nice is not going to grant you protection. It's not going to immediately grant you protection. It's not going to immediately, like, okay, if anything, in most cases, the reality of what's happening is you're going to you're really just kind of guilt tripping the person into liking you. And is that really how you want somebody to like you, right? Is by guilt tripping them into like. Now, if you just want to be nice, that's cool, right? But most of society is not just being nice just to be nice, you know, in these contexts of like getting a girlfriend and these things like that. Most of the time when somebody's trying to be nice to a girl, it's usually to try to guilt trip her into being nice so she can't be mean back to you, kind of thing, right? Like, in other words, trying to grant a certain level of protection. I'm not gonna say every case, but I say many cases are like that. I'm selling my house today, so I'm looking for something place. I'm kind of scared, to be honest. I know chicks are gonna be on me now. You selling your house? Okay, I didn't know you had a house. I thought last I heard, yeah, you've been making moves. Last time I heard you was kind of fucked up in life. You was going through some problems. So you bought a house? You made some moves since last time we talked, Super. Last time we talked, it was you and your girl at I don't want to give too much information out, but you made some moves since last time we talked. Anyway, let me go back to this video because I only did like a minute. Let's go back to this.
If I've tried to reason with you and you're still irate,
Right.
or you're still non-compromising, I gotta let you sit in that and let you have that, and then hopefully on
Yes.
another occasion
my
we can
parents' house, I
find
see.
some resolve.
There
Yeah,
you go. But you also have to, if it's someone you're already in a relationship with, and say you have already grown and evolved into your emotional intelligence, and they're just not there yet, then of course you kind of have to just wait it out, do a little deliverance, wait it out, do a little deliverance, do what's best for you. But when you are, say, a person who's single or dating, you're not already in something that has been chaotic and there's some division and you're trying to atone or get that stuff to be jailed back, as a single person, you're learned, because I've learned when I was very hostile and I'm coming with it. Like I said, we come with who we are. Don't nobody give us nothing. So when I was already ready to come with it, I met men who gave me the reason to come with it. Now that I'm in a place where I'm like, not that I'm not going there with you because I have to try. I'm just not built like that no more.
Right.
And I don't have the desire to do that. The
Right.
men that I meet, and I'm dating, I'm single, but I'm dating.
I can
The
tell.
men that I meet, they ain't perfect, but the conversation is more of a dialogue like this, Nick. I have literally yet, knock on wood, because I don't want to, yelled or raised my voice at a man in the past 3 years I've been dating because of not the men, but because of what I'm calibrating, and because my approach to a man is not like, I wish you would. No, it's now like, listen, we can talk this out, you know what I mean? Or we don't have to. But
So here, okay, this is something else I want to touch on too. So, because what's going on right now in the world is with the passport bro thing, guys are looking for feminine women, a traditional wife, and all that. So I want to talk about the hardships of both a traditional wife and then like a woman like this, right? So because I was talking with I don't know if you're watching, man, but we sat out that restaurant and we was talking about my situation, right? So because there's good sides and bad sides to having, a feminine woman who, a feminine woman who's not like super independent and all that stuff like that. There's good and bad sides to both. So the good side is, of course, a woman who's feminine, right? Who's not extremely independent and all this, right? Because she can be she can be a better partner in terms of what a man and a woman are supposed to be, right? Now, the downside of the traditional wife and all that is that since she's not independent, she's gonna be essentially useless 5 feet outside the front door. She's not gonna know how to do anything or do it well, right? So for the guys who are looking for a girlfriend who think they want that, I don't think they really realize the amount of responsibility that's going to come along with that, right? Because if you go out to one of these countries and go get you a woman who's feminine, some guys are against women going to college and all this shit like that, right? Let's say you go out there and get a woman like that. Well, yeah, like she will be more feminine, more dependent on you and all that, and she will have that traditional wife setting of or mentality of like stay at home more with the kids and do everything with the babies and all that, and do it all without questioning. Like she doesn't even question it, right? All that will be good, but the downside of it is she won't have she'll have very little to no knowledge of the world in any decent way 5 feet outside after she leaves the front door. It'd be abysmally bad kind of thing, right? And these are the consequences of it. So now the good part about being with a woman like her is that, yeah, like she will have worldly intelligence on some level, but in terms of you feeling like a man and being able to just like dominate her whenever you want, like she might fuck around and be too independent for that. Like a friend of mine's wife is like that. I think his wife is beautiful. But a friend of mine, her wife, he's not here now. He's back in the U.S. right now. Now his wife is beautiful. I think she's gorgeous, but we talk about both of our situations, and he wants I call her my wife, but we're not married. He wants my wife, and I want his wife, right? It's just guy talk kind of thing, right? Because his wife is like the complete opposite build from mine and all that, right? And, but the thing is, she's one of those. She's a working woman. She's a 9 to 5 woman, and she's already got her retirement, expertly set up. She knows where to put money at to get more money and do all this. Like she's doing, so he doesn't have to do any of that, right? And but the thing is, like, she's not submissive at all. Like she's just not a submissive woman, right? And that would be a problem for me. Like I feel like I'm sitting up with another man at that point. And that's why he likes my wife, because my wife is feminine, submissive. And she's Czech too. His wife is Czech. But she's just one of them working women, right? Now, she's still more feminine than any North American woman you'll find. But for Czech Republic standards, she's a more masculine woman. But she's beautiful. But like we talk about sex and stuff, and she's just a prude in context, she's a prude. But yeah. So like I said, see with this woman, like she's a good looking woman. I say she's an attractive woman, but you got to deal like you'll be lucky to find like a woman who can properly do both worlds well, because it's like once she starts to work and she's like on this independent thing, well, she's gonna have a harder time submitting to any man sexually for too long, right? Or unless she's just into that, which is rare, but these women do exist. She's gonna have a harder time doing that because now she like she's more aware of options in the world, kind of thing. Whereas like I said, the woman who doesn't do the 9 to 5 and go get like massively educated and all this, she's got her vision of the world is like this. Whereas like this woman's vision of the world is probably more like out to here, kind of thing of shit. And the more that she's going to see, the harder she's going to be to deal with. And see, here's the other sad part is like the higher educated women, like they think that they'll act right for the right man, but they never know. That is a delusion in their head. They're finished. These women who are highly educated and all this, they think that if they just found the right man who's more educated than her, that she'll become submissive for him and all that. That never works. That's a dream in their head. It's a either a woman is submissive or she's not. She's not gonna be truly, genuinely, relationship wise submissive with a man because he reached this criteria, right? She won't be able to. Well, she just said she can't keep a relationship, and again, like, and this is what always kicks women in the teeth is, okay, if she's so awesome and she's so great and she's so successful and this and that, then why is she having so much problems keeping men? Because I guarantee you, if you were to ask her, she would tell you, yeah, I would submit to a man, but he's got to come and treat me right, and he's got to come and do this, and he got to do that. See, this is why you don't talk to them when they start talking about this shit, because they're full of shit. Because I guarantee you, if you ask this woman, okay, who would you submit for a man who made $500,000, $1 million? Yeah, I got to, but he got to do this, he got to be this, and she can't do it. Because if she could do it, she would have done it. See, there's a reason why she's single. There's a reason why Melissa Fords or whatever her name is. There's a reason why these women are single. Because they're terrible to be around. Because if these women were so awesome and they're so amazing, because they're a woman, somebody's gonna find them attractive, then she wouldn't need to have to walk around screaming, I want a man who make da 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 da. Do you think Melania Trump was walking around screaming, I need a man that makes da 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 da? No, because Melania Trump was in that league of men who was doing that. Right? Do you really think them, I don't know, was it Meghan Markle was walking around saying, I need a man that's a Prince of England and da 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 da. The bitches wasn't running around on Instagram saying, Meghan Markle, them hoes wasn't, Meghan Markle and her colleagues were not running around Instagram saying, I need a man that da 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 da, because they was already around them men. They already knew what them men was. They already knew where they were at. It was getting them men already. See, the only women who were sitting up, rambling on, talking about something, I need a man. These are women who can't keep a man. Fucking period. That's it. Now, on the flip side, it's always harder for a man to go get a woman. It's always harder for a man to get a woman. And I think this is the confusion that women have, is because they hear men talk like this, so they think it's okay for them to have the same struggles. And it just shows how poorly a woman they are for real. Because a woman is essentially in a candy store. A woman is born into being desirable. All she got to do is put on something tight and take a bath. She's born into the position. And male suitors will just come up to her. Whereas a man has to go out. He has to actually prove some, integrity, conversation, characteristics outside of just looking a certain way. Contrary to what people are led to believe, men still have to produce other shit. Right? So when a man is like, I'm looking for a woman to do this and that and this and that and this and that, women are thinking that, oh, well, it should be equally okay for me to say, I want a man to do this, that, this, that. And it doesn't work that way. I'm trying to think of a scenario. Let's use like food. Maybe let's try food as an example, right? Food as an example, and how much money you got, right? Let's say like, okay, if a motherfucker is constantly screaming on social media, they want lobster and caviar, right? And they always screaming, I want some lobster and caviar. I need to have some lobster and caviar. I need lobster and caviar. I'm not going out unless I have lobster and caviar. I need lobster and caviar. Where's my lobster and caviar? How come ain't nobody bringing me no lobster and caviar? What does that tell you? That bitch can't afford no lobster and caviar. Because the bitches who can afford lobster and caviar ain't sitting down screaming it every 5 minutes. Because you know why? Because they eating lobster and caviar. They in with the right circles to go get them some lobster and caviar. Right? This woman cannot get lobster and caviar. Because she got to keep, because well, I need lobster and caviar to be here. And it got to be on this plate. And it got to do that. No, it ain't got nothing to do with the plate. All right, the reason why this woman is not eating lobster and caviar ain't got nothing to do with the plate, the napkins, the table, none of that. The reason why she can't go get no lobster and caviar is because she is not of quality to go get the actual lobster and caviar. And that kind of works for both sides, for real. Well, not technically. Well, yes and no, it works for both sides. I say in modern times it doesn't work for both sides anymore because women's standards just gotten so crazy. But yeah, this woman cannot afford caviar. She can't, because she got to sit on a whole. She's so bad. She now has to sit down on YouTube and have a whole conversation about why she can't afford lobster and caviar. But it ain't her fault. It's the lobster. It's the table's fault. It's the napkins. It's the silverware. It's the I gotta lobster cap. I gotta have a dinner fork. I gotta have the towels. It's the towels' fault. That's why I ain't got no caviar. Because they're not bringing me towels. That's why I can't get no caviar. Because they ain't bringing me towels. Look, it ain't got nothing to do with the towels. All right. It ain't got nothing to do with the towels. So everything she's gonna blame, it ain't got nothing to do with the problem is you. Okay? The problem is you. And again, the confusion comes in is because she's heard men say, I want a woman like this, da. And she thinks it's okay to sound like that as a woman. Right? But in reality, a dude saying like, I want a woman, blah, 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 is like a dude saying like, maybe it's like, I don't know if this is a proper analogy, but like a dude looking for a job who's got all the qualifications. Like, let's say a dude's walking around, graduated from an Ivy League school, this and that, blah, 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 he got a doctorate, and he's looking for a job, walking in, making 6 figures to $1 million a year, right? But this dude legit has all the qualifications for that job, and now he's looking for a job, right? Now, at some point, yeah, there probably is something a little wrong with him there at some point, but he does have the qualifications. Right? In a field where he has to look out to be hired, right? Where he's essentially, just another applicant on paper, right? Whereas a woman is walking in the world with a job. A woman was born into the world with a job, with the education, with the physicality, with the physical look, all this, and she still can't do shit right. Like, it's embarrassing when women end up in this position. To me, it's embarrassing because they are it, and they still fuck it. All they had to do was just sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up, and they still find ways. Brittany Renner is embarrassing to me. I would be embarrassed to be Brittany Renner. Because you already cute. All you had to do was smile, shut the fuck up, and suck a dick from time to time, and your life is taken care of. Just act like you got just an inkling of sense, and just smile, suck a dick, take a shower, and shut the fuck up. That's all she had to do. And what did she do? She still fucks it up. As women. And they think they can handle living as a man.
I'm not going to do this with you. And I very much, I think you can tell by my personality, I very much stand on my square, and I very much stand on business.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
I don't have to emasculate you for you to know I stand on business, because more men have said, damn, you ain't no joke. By me saying, listen, do we want to have resolve right now?
Yeah.
Because I'm not about to do this with you. And you're seeing a man's whole everything. I'm shift like who the hell is she? Like,
Right.
what just happened right now? Because like you said, they're not used to that.
I want to touch on that for a second because you bring up some great points, but even specifically to the single women that are watching, and they see you as a strong example. They see the empowerment. They see, but I mean, at the end of the day, what would be your advice or your insight to? I mean, because you are a single woman as well, and is the desire to get married eventually?
It is. I'm in my choosing. I said 4 or 5 months ago, I said, okay, God, I'm in my choosing stage. I'm not gonna call up another wedding because the commitment in me is different.
So and you,
I'm
like you said,
excited about that.
you've had plans that did not go as
Oh yeah,
plan.
I've called off 2 engagements and 2 weddings, and yeah,
2 separate times. So that's 4.
2 separate times.
Damn.
Yeah, 2 separate times.
All right, so you know what you want. You gonna get what you want when you want it. What is your insight and advice to finding this husband out there?
I think it's to be completely open. I think it's to not be a stiff blade of grass. A stiff blade of grass, I say it in my book, Mental Detox, is a dying blade of grass. Meaning you have to not personalize life, but you have to live life. And you have to be okay with getting experiences without judging yourself as a woman based on what those experiences are. Whether the experience is a week or a month or a year and it doesn't work, you gotta be able to give fully what you want to give and what you want to invest without feeling like you were robbed.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my God! Just shut. I can't listen. I can't listen to her talk for too long. Just shut the fuck up. And I don't even mean that to be hateful or anything like that. I don't mean it to be mean or hateful. But somebody really should have just told her shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up a long time ago. She needs it. Could you even imagine just hanging? No. Look, every woman is always going to have men that'll marry her, because there's always going to be a desperate dude out there for whatever reason. There's always going to be a desperate guy. So a woman getting marriage proposals and this and that's nothing to brag about. You're a woman. You are going to always have a pool of men who will want to marry you. Okay, that's nothing to brag about. All right. There is always going to be a desperate fool, an idiot, or just a dude who just wasn't paying attention, right? There's always going to be a dude who's going to sit. I wouldn't marry. You would have to pay me a lot. Probably, you would have to pay me more money than you paid Nick Cannon to sit down in a room with this woman. I can barely finish the video. Could you imagine? No. Here's the thing. I could have a legitimate debate with her. Like if I met her like at a bar or something, right? Like if I'm walking down the street in Prague somewhere, and this happens. You walk down the street and you just say a couple words, and by next thing you know, you're sitting down drinking with them for the next 3 hours. These things happen in Prague, especially when it's hot outside, right? Because people are sitting outside drinking. And, at restaurants, like walking down the street. And these things happen. But, okay, here's the thing. And I'm saying this out of pure, genuine opinion. I can tell that by talking to this woman, it could possibly lead to an interesting conversation, but inside I would feel that it would not be worth the friction of even considering trying to sleep with her. How do I put it? She's a good-looking girl. She is. But the thought of even trying, even considering sleep. See, here's the difference of when you leave the U.S. and you go to countries where 70% of the population is not fat, you're used to seeing in shape women. They don't have the same weight. literally and figuratively over here, right? They don't have the same power over here, right? When I was in America, of course, I would hold out. I would be one of them dudes holding out to have sex with her, right? Because he just looks good. But over here, like I have it fully within me to be like, no, I'm all right. Because even right now, the thought of just hearing her talk and where that could fuck around, and I would be in a conversation with her, and if we were lucky that it even lasted longer than 15 seconds, the thought of trying to have sex, the thought of having sex, or even considering the thought of having sex with her, feels like making an ice cream sandwich made with 2x4s. For those of you who aren't in America, 2x4 is wood. It's like the thought of having sex with her literally feels like trying to bite into an ice cream sandwich made of 2x4s. Just and bite through the wood. It just doesn't even feel. Yeah, there's ice cream in it, which is sex. Yeah, sex is always good, right? But just the roughness of the dominating and trying to sound intelligent about shit, and she's clearly not. And it's just like all of that is just it's just too much friction. It's not worth it to get to the ice cream, bro. Just throw the whole sandwich away and just move on. Do anything. You'd be better off just making your own ice cream at home or jacking off. You'd be better off just going home and jacking off. It'd just be much easier, more efficient. Yeah. I'm having a hard time even finishing the video.
Doesn't work because the feeling of robbery then dissipates you and your value and makes you question who you are and puts you in a doubtful space. And if we're talking about law of attraction, you can't attract high functioning from a place of low vibration. So you have to make sure that you understand that life is not doing nothing to you, it's doing it for you. It's meant to be lived and not personalized, and be okay with your experiences. And for the women who are up in age, when I say up in age, you could be in your 30s and you're not married yet and you are in your career or you're trying to figure things out. Make your self-talk question not be, why am I not married yet? Let your self-talk question and dialogue be, I'm proud of myself that I didn't choose out of despair, that I allowed myself as a woman to choose on my terms, on my time, and when I felt like it. Because when you do it like that, then it's more apt to work. So take your time and do you, and don't personalize it, because you have a lot of people who already been married a few times. That could easily be you.
And this is a woman who can't keep no man and still single, and she's still bouncing around from dude to dude. See, this is why I say, if you see women talking to each other, you should be allowed. You should be able to call the police on them. If you see two women talking to it, this woman is giving advice to other women about dating, and she can't keep no damn man. It is even worse because she looks good. Like, I should be able to call the police on her right now, and just talking like this on YouTube, and Nick Cannon's an accomplice for letting it go on because he knows this is some retarded shit, and I need to go home and question Mariah. She can't keep no manners, and she's sitting up giving advice. Yeah, you get up in age, and she can't keep no man. What the fuck is she talking about? She don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Because if you knew what she was talking about, she would have a man. If she knew what she was talking about, she would have a fucking man right now. Especially looking like that. She don't know what the fuck she's talking about, and now she done fucked around and got some little bullshit degree. So now she thinks she's intelligent and got the babbling so motherfuckers can actually listen to her with a title on her name. And that motherfuckers and a certain group of reject women who are just like her will listen to her. Other reject women who are looking for these little mental gymnastics of why they fucking old and can't keep no man and all this shit. They looking for any play on words they can find. Your home space etiquette, whatever the fuck. I don't know what new trend buzzwords out now that women love to do because it's easy and simple. She'll just babble that, and all the women in her boat that are older and can't keep no man, and they think they look cute, they could find some way to blame the world, blame other men, blame anybody else but themselves for the problem, and they'll all listen to her and stay in the same boat. And the reason why this is, and then there was this black woman. She said this. She was saying, and I couldn't find a video, but she said that how see, when men get older, they go back to the to the younger generation of men, and they see themselves in those men and try to help them. This is why men continue to grow. Whereas the reason why women never ever grow is because when women get older, they see themselves as the young woman. They never see themselves as the older woman. So they never go back to truly help the younger women. Never. Very, very rarely does it happen. Does a woman become that intelligent? Very rarely. Very rarely does it where the older women will go back and genuinely try to help the younger generations. Usually by the time it gets to that point, they're really poor and they're dressing their daughters up to be sold off to a rich man because the mother can't afford to raise the daughter anymore. And that's usually where that will come from. If it does come out, it's going to come out in that form. In many cases, I would say.
But for the people who have been married a few times and do have kids and they're co-parenting, I would say that number one, too, get your emotional intelligence up. If you don't have a therapist and you can't afford it, read books on it. YouTube has free videos on emotional intelligence. And the best way to implement knowledge, because knowledge is not power, the implementation of knowledge is power, is to go out there and experience it. So for like myself, I had to date and get into conflict with men so that I can use my emotional intelligence tool. And I remember when...
True. Okay, no, let's call it what it was. She had to date and get into conflict with men to stay dating and staying in conflict with men. She's stuck in the same fucking boat. There has been no growth. Listen to her, what she said.
Of knowledge is power. Is to go out there and experience it. So for like myself, I had to date and get into conflict with men so that I can use my emotional intelligence tool. And
she had to date to get into conflict with men so she can keep dating and keep staying in conflict with men. That's what she just said. Instead of running this emotional intelligence. See, women love these little quick buzzwords that just make them sound intelligent so people won't question what they actually said. Women love these things. They love these little self-help books with these quick phrases and quick poems and rhyming words because it sounds cute, because it masks, because they think it's going to help mask the fact that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. She's still single. She can't keep a fucking man. There's a reason for that. If she's so awesome, she should be able to get a man. Okay? It's like, okay, if Donald Trump right now was walking around and was like, man, I just cannot buy a Lamborghini. I can't, like, nobody's letting me buy a Lamborghini. They'll let me rent one from time to time, but nobody's letting me buy a Lamborghini. That sounds foolish, doesn't it? Because he has the resources to buy a Lamborghini, right? So why isn't Donald Trump buying a Lamborghini? That means Donald Trump has some hang up in buying the Lamborghini for some reason. Whether it's a personal hang up or he doesn't have money in the area, something's not right with Donald Trump to where he can't go buy the Lamborghini. Right? Donald Trump's walking around going, oh, AD, I just really wanted a new Lamborghini, but the store will let me rent one, but they won't let me buy it. And it's just, I don't know, but my emotional intelligence is good. my financial intelligence is good. How come they, I can't buy? So what I want to do is tell other men to just work on their financial intelligence. Work on your financial intelligence. See, I had to go get financially intelligent to work on my financial intelligence, but I still can't buy a Lamborghini. I got billions of dollars, but I can't buy a Lamborghini. But I'm going to tell young men to work on their financial, but nobody will let me buy anything over $100,000. What would that tell you right off the bat? If something's wrong, Donald Trump's got some problem somewhere. because he's got all the goods to go buy it, but something's wrong, or he's lying, right, about his money. Something's not right, right? That's the position this woman's in. She has the goods. She's a woman. She's not obese. She looks like she can figure out how to apply soap and water, right? So how come she can't keep? And then on top of that, she's so awesome. She's intelligent, and she's got so much emotional intelligence. So how the fuck, if she's so fucking awesome, how come she can't go get a man and keep one? Well, she can get a man, but she can't keep one because she's fucked up. So would you want to go take advice from Donald Trump about money if Donald Trump had all that, but nobody would let him buy a Subaru? They let him rent a Subaru, but they're not gonna let him buy it. Would you take? I mean, well, that's not because you could take financial advice from me and just learn what not to do in that scenario. So that's not really a good scenario. But the point I'm trying to make is there's no excuse. The problem, trying to pin it on some quick 2-letter rhyming phrase or some quick, self-help book poem from some other reject woman who couldn't keep a man. All these mental gymnastics trying to hide it and mask it and all this shit is a waste of time, dude. It's a waste of fucking time. And again, it's worse because she looks good. If she was ugly, I'd say it'd be better. But in my opinion, I think it's worse when she looks good and still can't keep a man. I think it's worse. Nasi, what's up on Nasi? He says, AD, a bit off topic, but what do you think will happen to relations between men and women if Trump wins in a landslide? Okay, here's the thing. I think Trump was the last hope we had in America to stop Americans from being complete faggots. Which that's what the women are thinking about America. Even though, these guys, they're trying to women are equal. Look, them same women going back to their female friends. It's like, I want a real man to fuck the shit out of me. I don't want this fucking faggot agreeing with everything I say. But the men, they're just pathetic, right? If America, I think Trump was the last hope at America not being, between Donald Trump and Eminem, I think both of them were about the two best options we had in the foreseeable future to get men off of thinking they're gonna nice their way in the pussy. Those are pretty much the last two great examples we have of for men in North America in terms of the entire country seeing it. Right, because Eminem is a countrywide person, and Donald Trump is a countrywide thing, and both of them are that breed of they're getting ready to say something that they know people aren't going to agree with, right? And that's what it takes to be a man. That's the difference between a masculine man and a feminine man. A feminine man is always going to say whatever he thinks people will agree with. Where a masculine man is going to say, what he thinks regardless, in context. I mean, don't be a complete asshole, but just in context, a man is going to go ahead and take that risk and say some shit that he know might offend somebody, but it might help him for real in the long run, or just say something he genuinely believes and thinks, right? Too much of America has turned too much into being faggots. They didn't turn too feminine. Trying to please everybody, trying to be all this, all this. They went overboard with it, way too overboard. But to answer your question, what do I think will happen if Trump wins in a landslide? I honestly now I'm beginning to think it's too late. I think it's too late. Nature will run its course, but right now I think Donald Trump and Eminem are going to be just a little are just a little it's a little too little too late kind of thing. because the simping has just gotten so far out of control. Simping has just gotten so out of control that, and then when with online dating and and guys getting desperate and cash apping women that they never met. These are things I've never even really had any meaningful you know situation with, like, and they sending these women this money, and it's not like these women are actually like doing anything. They're just glorified prostitutes, right? So it's like this context, the simping has just gone so far south that I think it's too. I think it's. I don't see it really helping a lot of society in the U.S. Why they always brag about calling off engagements like it's a flex? Yeah, platypus. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, like women love to say that they dumped a guy or something like that. They love it because they think it makes them look good, but in reality, like no. Okay, for guys who know, they know no. Okay, because here's the thing. There's another situation where there's very few scenarios where it was a good thing that she did it. I would put okay. Here's the thing. I would put a woman calling off an engagement in the same boat as a woman getting with a guy who's beating her fucking ass, right? I will put him in the same boats of poor decision making by the woman. Okay, because okay, if a woman got with a guy and for whatever okay, let's say in the case the guy like rushed it way too fast and asked for it up front, right? Well, okay. Now I would say like that. Now that wouldn't be the woman's fault. The call. Well, okay. No. Well, the call for an engagement, she would have had to agree to it. So she would have agreed, even if the guy rushed it. She would have agreed to the engagement, right? Which would be poor decision making on her end. Another scenario would be she got with a guy and she's talking to him for a while, and he asked to be engaged to her, and she said yeah, and then called it off, right? So again, that's another poor decision making by the woman, because if she was serious about the guy, she would have said yeah, and that would have been it. So she doesn't have a good sense of being decisive, being consistent. There's a lack of decisiveness and consistency in her at minimum. At minimum, it's not okay. And she said she did it 4 times. See, in woman's mind, she thinks that makes her look and sound better, because to other women whose sole value is based off of how much she's desired in the world, to other women that sounds good. That oh, she has a lot of men come after, blah, blah, blah. See, to that high school, typical woman high school mind capacity, that sounds cute to them, that she's desirable and she called off 4 engagement, and it's just some desperate guy. Oh wow, she must be something special because 4 guys want to marry her. To them, it sounds cool, and she must be a hot commodity and all this shit like that. But to an actual guy who knows how to think, that's her problem. She's the problem in that. Okay. Why did she agree four completely separate times and call off all 4 of them? She said she called off 4 engagements. That means she was engaged and she called it off. She quit. So that screams at me, at minimum, she has, okay, she's not even worth to even go into a relationship. I wouldn't even tell you to do that. Okay, so let's put it in perspective. It'd be maybe like a job, right? Let's say this company down the street was hiring, right? And let's say the company was paying good money, but they have a reputation of letting people go for no reason, right? Let's say I don't know. Let's say Microsoft was hiring, and they gonna pay you $120K a year to do something, right? But statistically speaking, that company will always has always fired all their employees as soon as there was a sign of true camaraderie. They fired all of them. Any boss, let's say you were going to a management position, something like this, or an executive position, and you looked at their track record of people who got that job, and all of them were let go right when they were supposed to become a closer, you know, a closer group of people, they always fired that position. What would that tell you? That unless you were just desperate for money, don't go over there and fuck with that company because they don't know how to make their fucking minds up. They're unstable. The fact that she caught off four, that means, okay, in a perfect world, I'm going to give her the complete benefit of the doubt. In a perfect world, she got with 4 separate men and had legitimate relationships with 4 men, right? So this means at least a year, I would assume. And let's give her the entire benefit of the doubt. Let's say it was 4 years. I mean, I'm sorry, it was a year every time, right? So a year of a man's time getting with her, wanting to marry her, she broke it off, right? So that's 1. She goes back off in the world. She's single. She's going through different cocks and different messaging. She's been messaging hundreds of men since then. She gets with another guy. Stays with him. And again, this is what looks good to men, by the way. She got with that next man for at least a year. The guy asked to marry her, and then she called it off. That's guy number 2. Right? And she goes back out there in the dating world, going to bars, getting drinks. Hey, girl. Online dating, talking to hundreds of men again, messaging some back, ghosting others. She gets with a third guy. Gets with him. Has a legit relationship with him for maybe a year. I would say at least a year before you get to know somebody. And again, this is the best case scenario for her track record. Right? She was with him for a year. The guy wanted to marry her. She agreed to it. Cancel that one. Right? Then she goes off again in the world, goes back in online dating, meeting people. Girl, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I ain't like him either. And go out, hops on a few other cocks, drinks another quarter-liter of cum, and then she meets this 4th guy. Right? And they get together for a year. Right? And then he asks to marry her. She agrees, and then she calls it off. That is a lot. Really think about the mileage she has, and think about how mentally fucked she must be at this point. Let's give her another benefit of that. Let's just paint her in the complete perfect light, right? Let's say she dated a guy for a year. He asked her to marry her. She didn't feel him, whatever, canceled it. And then she just didn't talk to any other men. And then the exact next guy she found, she did the same thing. Did all that. He wanted to marry her after a year. She canceled, right? And then she just, left. Didn't do online dating or anything. Didn't touch anybody else. Then the next guy she did it with. She is a serial dater, dude. Think this is not attractive. Once, maybe twice. After that, you gotta start making your fucking, it's not cute. You're not 19 anymore. Whatever her name is, you're not 19. It's cute when you're 19 to do this silly shit. It's disgusting at 35 and up. It's disgusting at 30 and up. Because now you just look like a retarded bitch who can't make her fucking mind up because she's too drunk off a cum. It's gross. Okay, any man who has confidence and self-esteem, once he were to find that out, that does not work in your benefit. That you've called off 4 engagements. That's disgusting. That does not work. That's not a positive. In the best light, that's not a positive. Because again, see, to women in that high school mentality of just being seen as desirable to other people, it's cool in that little high school mentality that most women don't grow out of. It's cool to them to go, oh, well, yeah, Sarah, she's been proposed to 4 times. Blah, blah, blah. See, in that world, amongst other dingbat bitches, that sounds cool and cute and amazing and desirable. I wish guys would propose to me. And see, to those retarded bitches, it sounds cute and all that. It's admirable. But in the world, to a man with self-esteem and confidence, no, that is not cute. It's gross. Make up you're too old to be walking around. Like, make your fucking mind up. It's gross. Is it not attractive? There is nothing in that a man will look at that and be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I need to get with that. All you're showing is instability. And now, do you think a man with instability who's worth a damn is going to want to get with you? A woman who couldn't make her mind up 4 times at minimum. Because we're not talking about the other guys who wanted to marry her and she talked to for a while and wasn't feeling. We're talking about the 4 at minimum that she's confirmed. She couldn't make her mind up 4 times. While she was so awesome and got good quality men and this and that, she still couldn't do it. So where does she, specifically this woman, where do you come off thinking that you want a solid man who has his life together, a consistent life that is full of stability and and well-being? Why would he want some hussy that's been bouncing around at least 4 different cocks with no hope for a future with the cock? There is nothing about you that's desirable to a man that has any self-esteem or any confidence outside of use you as a hooker. That's it. She could stand up at Show Park. I'd pick her out of a lineup at Show Park. But after that, you're garbage. It's rough to say, and I don't mean to hurt her feelings, but look, somebody should have told her a long time ago. I was on a train today. I'm gonna leave y'all in a minute. I was on a train. I was on the underground today, going to my job. I meant to post my picture. I took a picture outside of where I go to teach, but I forgot to post it to the internet because I just don't post shit. And I got on the train, and I ended up sitting across from this girl, and she was from Ireland, right? But I didn't notice at first because I couldn't tell her accent. And she was just talking loud, and she had her headphones in. And she was just going on about her friends and like how one of her friends left a guy and took everything he had. Because I think she thought that I don't think that she knew I could speak English. Because that's the thing with some foreigners, they don't really understand that. Like more than most black people here will speak English because that's how they're here, kind of thing. Like, but I think some don't really get that. So I'm pretty sure she didn't think I spoke it. So she was just talking loud about it without a care, and she was just going on about how one of her friends left, like, I think his name was Kevin, and took everything the guy had. I mean, she's talking like she was proud about it. And she didn't know if her other friend was going to do the same thing. And here's the thing. She wasn't a knockout model. Like, she was wearing dirty sneakers. She was just skinny. Right? And, I mean, because I ended up asking, right before I got off the tram, I ended up asking her where she was from. And then she started striking up a conversation with me, and I had to get off the train. And, yeah. Like, but that scenario was a perfect example. I can't prove it because nobody was there, and I didn't record it because I'm not a weirdo on a train. So I mean, I could just be making it up, but I'm not making it up because I told her I was actually going to. If you're watching, I'm going to Ireland next month because we got in a conversation real fast. I said because she said she was from Ireland. I said, I'm going to Ireland next month because I'm going to go see a friend up there. She asked what part, and I said what part, and she said, "Oh yeah, Ireland's." She was like, "Yeah, Ireland." She starts going on about how Ireland was really nice and people are very welcoming there. And I had to run off because the tram doors was getting ready to close, so I had to get off the train. I know it sounds like I could be making it up, but I'm not that type of dude to make up, especially a story like that. But here's the thing: like when you hear women talk about guys, like when they don't think men are listening, oh, women are. Look. All the red pill channels combined have nothing on just like a regular dusty ass woman and how they talk about men. Like, if you think anything I've said was mean or anything like that, when you hear how women talk about men when the men aren't there, oh, dude, you are nothing but a fucking pawn to them. Because she knows she'll go out and find another dick. Unless you just fucking her real hard or something like that, or really playing with her sexually in a way that, most men probably won't. Like, unless you're doing some extreme fetish or something like that with her that she knows she can only get from you, like, dude, it's especially then, they are talking about you like a dog, worse than a dog behind your back. You better believe it. Now, I have experience with it, so I'm used to hearing these things. I know, right? Oh, she was just talking like openly loud about it. Openly loud. Like because it was 2 girls she was talking about. and and the one had took every. She was talking about how the one took everything from a guy she was with now, and I can't remember what it was, but she was talking about how her friends were taking everything that guys had and just leaving them, kind of thing, knowing they'd be sad and all this, like it was a sport, as if it was literally like playing basketball, like it was fishing, as if it was nothing. And it's situations like that is what American men. Well, even, I think American men on average are so far gone they would still talk themselves into making her a victim or something. Oh, she must have been catcalled and hurt or some silly shit like that. But no, don't women being all nice and all that shit, dude. Like don't fall for that. That's that TV and media, man. Don't fall for that. Don't ever fall for it. At least this one was a little more butch, so you can feel her friction in her. But how women talk about men when they don't think men are in the room, oh God. Now, okay, even with that being said, like she could just like a dude. I mean, I'm not saying women don't like a guy, but how women truly view men, like when they know men are not there, when they feel like men are not there to listen to them and how they talk about them. I'm telling you, man, a whole lot of men would be heartbroken real fast. A whole lot of men would be heartbroken. Because here's the thing. Because women know that men just want sex. So like it's not the same. Like how men talk about having sex with women. Women know. So it's not like it's some like mysteriously hidden thing or something like that, right? Like they know what the game is from young ages. Women know what the game is, but the thing is, men don't know what the game is. So when women hear how men talk about women, yeah, it's awkward and all that, and it's even a little hurtful sometimes. But they always knew what that game was. They always know that. Okay, for every man on earth, most men would prefer, at least at some point in his time period with any woman, to have sex with like 20 other women just because they have a different body shape. I told my spouse this. I said, look, like I told my spouse, I said, women's bodies are just like different flavors of ice cream. Okay, I want to fuck another woman, but I'm not going to fall in love with her or anything like that. And that's what the women are afraid of, because once you fall in love with them, they think they're going to lose you lose all your resources and all that. Right? But I told her, like, a woman's body is literally just like a different flavor ice cream. It literally means nothing. Right? It's just a new taste. That's it. It's butterscotch, peppermint, strawberry, chocolate. It's just a different flavor. A woman's body, the shape of it literally registers to the male mind as a different flavor of ice cream. Right. But women know this shit. They don't like it necessarily, but they know it. Whereas on the flip side, men very rarely get to hear how women talk about men when they think that no men are listening. Men are not privy to this information at all. Right? So when you try to tell men this, that you must be crazy, because men, they don't want to believe it. Right? They don't want to believe it at all. So you must be crazy. You must hate women. It must be your fault. It can't be the woman's fault. And women know. Women know this reaction. It's never the woman's fault. It's always a man. The Taliban has passed a law forbidding women to speak in public. Well, at least they got control over them. I'm in a nursing program with 90% women. Sorry to hear that. The amount of things I've had to act like I just didn't hear in conversation is wild. Oh, women are wild, dude. Yeah, I don't know what you've heard, but I know. Women are wild, dude. Women are far more wild than men. If they want to, far dirtier. Like nymphomaniac. They can be far, if they want to, they just choose to be dirty. They can be far dirtier than men. But yeah, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you that you're in a program with 90% women. One and two, yeah, you just gotta pretend like you just didn't. Yeah, in that scenario where you trying to get a job and all that, yeah, like yeah, you gotta just pretend like you just act like you didn't hear it. It's just one of them things. Because here's the thing: if you heard it, now, because see, here's how fast women can manipulate scenarios. Okay, so let's say they said some fucked up shit. They can say anything fucked up for real, right? And you hear it, and you got a problem with it, and you go tell somebody. See, them women will turn everybody against you, and now you'll be the evil bad guy. You can't is I say it's not okay. Like on one end, it's yeah, pretend like you didn't hear it. But on the other end, you can't tell because then women because there's no laws against that for women yet. They will go in there. I say this. Those women in nursing class can literally have plans to murder the teacher. Right? They can have plans for that. And you go in there and tell on them, right? With evidence. The women, how women move, they can manipulate that situation to make it look like you did it or you said something or you did that or you pushed her because she was scared and they feel threatened because you were there. Those women will manipulate that whole scenario to make it look like you was the wrong one, that you did everything crazy. I've watched that shit happen, dude. You can't even tell on them when they say some fucked up shit because that's how women move. Because again, like I finished like 2 weeks ago, there are no laws set for how women fuck up life. There's laws set for how men fuck up in life, but there are no laws set for that are aimed at women, how women fuck up life. See, all the laws that are in life now are based on what men can do. Men can beat up, men can rob, men can steal, men can see women can't beat up and rob like that because they'll just get beat up doing it. Right? Because they're pathetic, right? Let's just be real about it. So since all these every law in most countries are typically tailored around male activity, woman activity is complete. There are no laws for them. There's no laws. So how women can attack the world? They can just destroy entire I was gonna say personality. What's the word I'm looking for? Entire reputations with no consequences. And now the men in America, especially in the U.S., the men are so pathetic that even if she did do something to fuck up somebody's life, people will still side with her for some reason. She must have been a victim. She must, because all she'll say is, "Oh, I was domestically abused," and that's it. People just follow like Amber Heard. Amber Heard was the perfect example of that. Where Amber Heard just said that Johnny Depp was fucking her up, he immediately lost all his movie deals. He lost Pirates of the Caribbean. He lost his modeling contract. He lost all his work because she just said it. And Johnny Depp had to go in there with evidence, with legit evidence, embarrassing evidence to even stand a chance against a woman because of her manipulation. All she gotta do is go. All she gotta do is start crying. And there'll be other retarded women and simps coming to rescue her quick. Amber Heard was the perfect example. Perfect. Absolutely perfect example of it. All she had to do was say Johnny Depp did something, and he immediately lost everything. Johnny Depp had to take her to court and bring in records of her red-handed. And I still didn't think it was enough. Because I know how society sees women. I still didn't think it was enough. I still thought he was gonna lose. But yeah, laws are not made for women. Laws are made against men. But with Taliban passing that law, hey, like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Because they don't want their women to turn to. Here's the thing: North America is pretty good on many other areas, but the one area where North America fucked up was with controlling their women. That's where they completely fucked up. And these other countries don't want their women to turn into that because it's gross. Like, I get it. I mean, like, we say with the where was it? Taliban? Like, yo, can you really can you really blame them? You know what I mean? Like can you really blame them for doing that? You know what I mean? Well, I can't blame them. Because of what they can do with just talking and simps, the damage they can cause with that. Can you really I can't blame them for doing that. Ghetto hood red ice cream flavored. When I heard that, I thought of when you spoke about how men allow women to do anything they do. Oh yeah, random mortal. Yeah, yeah. Let's be real about it. Yeah, like the only reason women are doing literally the only reason why women in this flat are safe right now is because the men agreed to it. Right? Because if all the men in this building that I'm living in right now just decided to be like, look, we fucking up all the women, what could they do about it? They couldn't do anything. They'd have to just so woman literally lives everyday life in the hopes that men just talk themselves out of beating the shit out of them, right? Let's be real about it. That's what it is. That's what it is. Women live every day, but here's the thing: it's back to the someone mentioned earlier about how women choose this. What was this? Women choose to control men to their advantage. That statement. Women choose to control men to their advantage, right? Was the woman who wrote The Second Sex. She specifically stated, and I loosely quote, women would much rather stay with the consequences of living under a man than ever go out in the world and create their own society. Right? It's the woman's choice overall. Historically, it's always been the woman's choice to do. Men collectively, men were never locking bitches up. Right? Men want to fuck women and essentially just leave them off somewhere. The women always needed men. Well, they still do need men. Right? And with that being said, there's nothing women could do to the only reason women are literally doing anything is because men allow it. Right? When me and my spouse are in here, the only reason why she can even eat food is because if I want to, I can just beat her up and not let her eat food. Right? It is, and it's not just that. Then let's break down the male category. If I live next door to Mike Tyson, it'd be the same thing. The only reason why I'm eating food is because Mike Tyson just didn't beat me up and take the food. Right? It's just the order of the food chain, and women are at the bottom of the food chain of humans. All women are at the bottom of the food chain of humans, right? So women are at the bottom, and then, well, technically you say children, because children just can't defend themselves against anything. Children, and then women, and then men, and then it's the different, caliber of man for whatever the situation is, right? It just is what it is. Right. So when a woman does have a problem, where does she run to? Okay, so let's say when a woman is getting beat up or raped or something like that, where is she gonna run to? If women are so strong, she should run to other women to save her from this man, right? But where does every woman go when she faces problems with a man? She runs to another man. She ain't running to Susan. There is not one feminist who walks down the street and she sees a dude and the dude comes chasing her. There is no feminist on earth who will go run to another woman for help. Not one. As soon as that woman sees trouble, she's running to go find some man that she hopes will talk himself into helping her. Find me one feminist who will go out there and see a man, not even a big strong dude. Let's say it's me. Let's say it's me, but I'm all dirty and fucked up. I'm oh, come here, bitch. I'm gonna rape you. Her. Right? That woman is not gonna go run to Susan for help. Because then both of them bitches gonna get raped. Right? She gonna run to the nearest man she could find. I'm thinking of one time I was walking with my son by this church, and this woman was walking not far from me, right? And this gypsy dude, he was a little off, right? But he wasn't nothing to be afraid of, but he was definitely a little off. And the woman, she was like, clearly getting uncomfortable, right? And she's walking past me, and then the gypsy dude like started busting out, started talking to her, and she immediately looked at me and like kind of ran towards me to come save her, and I gave her a look back like, I'm not saving you. But it was like the look, like it's her instinct to look for the nearest man to fix her problem, right? In an emergency, it's their instinct to do it. You will not find one big strong feminist woman who does not have that instinct. Fucking what's her name, Gia Carano, or them bitches. Let them women MMA fighters, the women MMA. I mean, you might find some who might actually do something, but in a heat of uncontrolled, unfiltered, flat out war, battle zone shit, them Gia Carano bitches, they gonna go run to find a man. It's their instinct to do. You might find a handful of them who might actually go fight. It happens from time to time. But I'm talking with you in the streets. You're in the streets. And there is no bell. There's no referee to come break up the fight. There's none of that. I'm talking we out here in full-on war. Anything can go out here because who knows what they're on, kind of thing like that. See, them women MMA fighters, they'll calm that shit down real quick out there. And I mean, some of them may actually, but I'm talking when things click and it's a spur of the moment, da-da-da-da-da-da, right? We ain't setting up to square up and all this shit. A motherfucker just pop you, right? Her instinct is man. She looking. Where is he? Is her instinct. Now, she might fuck around and turn on later and beat the dude up. You mean some shit like that. I'm not saying like, there's many different things that happen, but isn't her instinct to do that? No less than it's an instinct for your dog to stare at you when he's taking a shit. Because he's scared, because he's vulnerable. It's his instinct. When you take your dog out for a walk, or even like my son, when my son started taking a shit in his diaper, right? And he got to get somewhere where he know he's safe and look at me. Right? Because he's vulnerable. Motherfucker might snatch him up while he taking a shit. It's the same instinct for women. It's the same instinct. You won't find one woman to do. You will not find one woman who will go off like I said that is not in a controlled environment and be bad. I mean, well, let me take that back. You probably could find a handful here or there. You probably could find a handful, but you'd be better off to just assume that she's gonna turn to a woman real fast. What's up, Joshua? Thanks. She was like, "Save me, brown man." Yeah, it was a white girl. Yeah, it was a Czech woman. Yeah. All right, because I remember I looked over, because I knew she was gonna do it too. It was one of them things. Like I knew she was gonna do it because the thing is, like, as a black dude walking around with like crazy people, like here's the fucked up about Europe, because like Czech Republic is not many black people here. So my Russian friend, actually, I'm going to a party with him on Saturday. He got a boat, and he asked me if I'm going to drink on the boat. His birthday's this week, and he wants me to come out. We were talking, and he said, "Yeah, like they just don't know how to deal with a black guy. Like they just don't know how to act because they're not used to seeing you here." But yeah, the weird part that you got to get used, because in America you're used to seeing black people in most of North America, so it's not like a special big deal. But over here, it's like, it can be kind of a big deal. So I remember another time there was this crazy dude at the tram stop across the street, and he kept digging in trash cans and throwing shit, right? And I went down there to stand because I was just kind of curious if he would even try. He was crazy. I was curious if he would even try it because he was going up to other people, bumping into them, and like walking in their face and staring at them and talking to them. And he would dig out the trash can and like throw like a pop bottle, like Joe Montana, at a motherfucker, right? And hit him with it. And nobody would say anything to him, right? And so I went down just to see if he would do it to me, right? And he wouldn't do it to me. And here's the weird part was that my blackness caused him to like become sane for a little while. He was so scared. Like, because he was feeling himself, right? He was like throwing shit around. He was crazy, right? And he walks up to me, and he gets close to me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and he goes, as if to go anyway. It does it to all the white people, right? I'm like, yo, like, and I felt kind of bad because I kind of wanted him to do it to me. I didn't want to feel like, you know what I mean, like, because I start feeling bad for multiple reasons after that. Because he was crazy, but not crazy enough to even touch a black dude, right? It was one of them things. Or maybe he just felt my energy was off. I don't know, but it was ridiculous. But no, even then, like as a like I've never had an issue with crazy people on the streets or any. I've never had that issue. I've never had that issue. Like they'll always like chill out for me. Yeah, motherfucker was crazy. Now I was scared for my spouse because she was riding up there, and I told her I'd come get you because there's a crazy dude over there. But he was gone by the time she came up here. He wasn't there anymore. Somebody must have called the police on me. But yeah, because he was I mean he was wild. Like he was like just walking like I mean he just was clearly off. Like the dude was ridiculous. But in the U.S., you know, my blackness doesn't have that power in America. The motherfuckers don't care. They've been, you know, they're used to it. They're conditioned. But over here, no, it's you safe. You be safe from that over here. You'll be safe. Yeah. What time is it? It's 9:55. I'm going to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag because I'm addicted to it. And I finished The Prince by Machiavelli. It was good. I say it was a much easier read than something from like Aristotle or like Plato and those guys, because those guys they were kind of it was even translated in their English in that form of talk, and some of that Aristotle or what's the other I can't think of the other guys I've read, but because I never read anything from Machiavelli, and the only reason why I even got on Machiavelli was because I played Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, so like it got me thinking that like maybe I should try to read something that he wrote, so that's what made me go get The Prince. And it was actually it was a far more easier read, which does make sense because he was in the 1500s, so or 14th late he was in the 15th century to early 16th century, so it makes sense why he was more easily it was far more easier to read his than like I said Aristotle was good, but or Marcus Aurelius, like those guys, like the older you get the harder it is to kind of read some parts because they're speaking in that, like even when they translate it, they even translate it in that like um dost thou knowest whilst thou goest to thou storest, and what if is thou all that shit like that. Maybe not like that, but you know what I mean. Like it's even translated kind of complicated to read. But I would recommend The Prince. That was a much easier. I mean, there was still some parts that would be kind of awkward. So I asked like Chat GPT like to summarize like the eighth paragraph and like the 17th chapter or something like that. Like what was he trying to say? But overall, I would recommend The Prince by Machiavelli. It was good. I mean, if you've already read Aristotle and those guys, like it wasn't anything too different. If anything, it was just more a focus on military shit. And as populations grew, which is something that like Marcus Aurelius just could not write on because the populations just weren't that big, or he just had a different set of circumstances, I should say. It wasn't like drastically bigger like nowadays, but he just didn't have the same set of circumstances. But yeah, it was good. I'm reading that, so I started reading one now. I want to get the books. I just found an online PDF. It's called? Oh yeah, Guerrilla Warfare. Say tongue on Guerrilla Warfare. I just read like the first 30 pages of it before I turned this live stream on. I mean, it's all right. It's not like super good, but it's all right. Yeah, and yeah, because I done got back into reading again, so I'm gonna do that. I wanted to buy another book, but they charging too much. There's a few other books I wanted to read. Tombstone, that China. I'll show you. This is other book I wanted to read called Tombstone. This book, but they keep charging too much for shipping, and I ain't trying to pay that much for shipping, motherfuckers. I've been wanting because I read little cliff notes and little parts of it here and there, and it looked pretty cool. But everybody I keep finding they keep charging some crazy price for shipping out here, so I just never. Oh, and there's this other one, Kamikaze. This is other book I wanted to read. Kamikaze. It doesn't like this book. It's only $1.50. I need to go ahead and buy this. I think I'm gonna buy this when I get off this live stream. I'm gonna because I can't find this anywhere else. I'm gonna buy this when I get off this live stream. This is only 35 crowns, just like $1.50. But they always add some crazy shipping price for it. Let me see if I can find. You guys can see this, right? That's where the brothel is, Holzevitze. Let's do. Oh yeah, so this isn't. I'd have to go to Holzevitze. Visachan. That's where I used to live. Well, you can't see my mouse, but Visachan. Oh, so these are free. Okay, yes, I'm definitely gonna buy this. No, it's not gonna be free. They're gonna charge me on this other site. I guarantee they're gonna charge me. Wait, because I'm. Here. Yep, they charged me. Yep, it went up to 49 crowns. I'm not gonna pay more for the book than the book's worth for shipping. I'm just that petty about it. I'm not gonna pay the same price for what I'm buying for shipping. Even if it's $1, I'm just not gonna do it. Grave Rave. Thoughts on the Steam Deck? Random Mortal. I was gonna buy one and I just never got around to it. I think it's cool, but I've never actually played one. What do you think of the term situationships? Personally, I think it's a bunch of BS. Yeah, situationships. Yeah, situationships is Put okay, I'll say this: a situationship generally is going to be the person who's saying it is the person who is scared to get in a relationship. But it has a lot of the situations of a relationship. But you also have other scenarios that, people want to hide it or whatever, too. So I get that. But, yeah. Yeah, man. I'm going to get out of here. It's 10. I'll let y'all go, man. Thanks, everybody who tuned in, like, subscribe. I don't think anybody donated. But if you did and I missed it, thanks. I'll catch you guys later, man. Have a good night. Peace out.